Alright boys and girls, welcome back to the Joy of Sticks. Stickhead here as always. Now I've had another package, very exciting package. This one is all the way from Miami, Florida, so something I bought on eBay which will really help the issue I've been having with this big LCD TV. Playing the Atari ST on a big screen like this. I mean, I'm lucky that it displays the picture at all because LCDs and Atari STs don't get on at all, but so it displays it, but it doesn't display it very nicely, very fuzzy. So I'm lucky in one sense, but it's not good enough for me. So I got hold of this. Let's have a look. Let's open. And we'll have a little look. Here we go. Nice little white box, let's see. And crack it open. Inside. Here we go. And it is a SCART to YUV. That's a component YUV output. So you put your SCART in here. I've got a SCART lead for the Atari ST, so the ST will feed in here, and then here, when I get myself some component leads, they'll go from here into the LCD telly, and it should output a progressive, so 480p I think. I don't know, I'll have to play with it. I'd imagine it outputs 480p, but it should be a lot better, so hopefully all the fuzziness will be gone, and we'll just be left with a nice crisp picture, which some people actually wouldn't appreciate. I mean they're right in this really. They think that you can't beat an old tube telly when it comes to playing old video games, and they're right. You get, you know, the natural anti-aliasing effects and all that kind of business. But I'm hoping this will keep things really crisp, because I'm a big fan of pixels. The bigger, the blockier, the better. I love seeing, I mean, this is running through Atari at the moment. I've got my Linux laptop here plugged into the telly, and you probably can't see it from where you are, but the pixels are really nice and clear. So I'm hoping for a similar kind of result from a real ST through this. But we'll have to wait and see really. It's a bit of an experiment. Yeah. There's an American adapter. I'm going to have to try and find the appropriate adapter to power that. It's a 12 volt one, so it should be quite easy to find. And yeah, so I'll look forward to giving that a go and see what the display is like. Now the other thing I wanted to do today was to show you my collection. Now I've got quite a few ST games, but most of them are upstairs, keeping my NES and Mega Drive and Spectrum and Amstrad collection company, and the select few that are in my, what I call my core collection, are down here in the living room. Now my core collection are the games I'm looking to really properly collect. They're the games that have some kind of personal significance to me. So either games that I played loads when I was a lad, like Barbarian, or you know, a game that's widely seen as one of the ST's best, or a game perhaps that I really wanted when I was a lad, but for whatever reason couldn't get hold of. So yeah, anyway, come and have a look. Here we go, let's make our way over to the bookshelf, and here they are. Pretty much just one shelf on my bookshelf at the minute, but growing in size daily, and there's a few down there. Now the names on the boxes do speak for themselves, but I'm going to read them out anyway, because otherwise I'm pretty much redundant, just a glorified tripod. So yeah, here we go. So as I say, these are pretty much all games that are really significant to me when I was a nipper, which is why they're in pride of place in the living room. So we got Gauntlet 2. Me and a friend spent absolutely hours on that on the Spectrum, and then when he updated to an Atari, many more hours on the Atari ST version. Microprose Grand Prix, Jeff Crammond's masterpiece. It's absolutely classic driving game, probably one of, if not the best on the Atari ST. Chaos Engine, Bitmap Brothers, a trademark Bitmap Brothers really, with the old fantastic presentation and all that kind of stuff, but a great game on top of that. Space Crusade, which I'm denied about whether to include in this really, because I didn't spend a lot of time playing it when I was a lad, but the time I did spend it, it was a really good game, and I had the actual board game too. So playing it on the ST was quite cool. Lure of the Temptress, one of the few point-and-click adventures that I've actually played to completion. And here we go, we've got two copies of Championship Manager 93. This is the one that I actually owned back in the day, and there's the compendium that you will have seen on the package video the other day. I mean, the amount of hours I lost to that game is just ridiculous, to be honest. Alright, they're not in any particular order at the moment, more like box size order than anything else. But here we've got Blood Witch. That's any of you don't know that, that's like a Dungeon Master game, but for 2 players. So that's a really unique title, and very good actually. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's another point-and-click adventure, a Lucasfilm one, absolute classic. Love that. Exile is a game that I knew nothing about until I'd seen it at a car boot. Bought that for 50p, and what a game! What a game! I think it was more famous on the BBC Micro, and the fact that this game in its entirety fitted onto a BBC Micro is incredible, because it's a sprawling adventure with loads to discover. Absolutely great. I might have to do a gameplay of that soon. Supercars, a classic game. I was determined to get the original of that because every pirate copy I've ever played is actually corrupted after a certain number of races. And here we've got Frontier Elite 2, absolute classic. David Braben's follow-up to Elite. You'll hear more about that in a future video. Pushover, this is a really unique game actually. I mean, you know, they just don't make games like this anymore. I know they're starting to actually, and indie developers are still out there making really creative, interesting, unique, characterful titles, and this is definitely one of those, a puzzle game that involves pushing dominoes. That's definitely worthy of a video playthrough. Sensible Soccer, you saw my video of that the other day, my 10th favourite Atari ST game. So I'll have to leave a link to that so you can check that out. Now, I do actually want to include, in my collection, I want to have full, big box, full releases. So, not so keen on the budget titles, but in the absence of anything else, I have included those. I haven't got the big box Bubble Bobble, but that's a definite must buy. So yeah, and there's Stunt Car Racer, another absolute classic for the ST. Blood Money. I'm denied about including that one as well, because I've only played it a handful of times. But I tell you what, I do remember before I actually owned an ST, when I saw it running, and the introduction has some digitised speech. I think it says something along the lines of, first there was Menace, and now there is Blood Money, or something like that. Fans of the game will know better. But yeah, that was a real moment where I thought, wow, this is the next generation of gaming right here. I was so impressed by digitised speech at the time. What else have we got here? Dogs of War. That's an Ikari Warriors style game, multiplayer. Very very cool actually. One of the notable parts of the game is the weapons shop. There's so many different weapons to buy in there, it's ridiculous. But yeah, great game. Here's Rogue and Star Wars, 2 recent additions. These be some gameplay videos of those soon. Another budget title, can you see that? Defender of the Crown. Again, I'll be looking for the big box of that. That's an ST classic, one of the early titles that really paved the way for 16-bit gaming and showed people what these machines were capable of. What have we got here? Chaos Strikes Back. Now, I've got Chaos Strikes Back, but I haven't actually got Dungeon Master, which is a huge omission at the moment from the collection. that'll definitely have to happen at some point, if only to keep Chaos Strikes Back company. But yeah, I mean, when I did the Atari ST game survey, almost everybody voted Dungeon Master as their favourite, so that's a hugely popular game, and definitely one I'll include because I played it to death too. Up here we got Rainbow Islands. That's another recent addition. Check out a soon-to-come video for that. Populous, you saw that video the other day, hopefully. If not, I'll leave a link in the bottom and you can watch me playing that. Well, yeah, I've said all I want to say about that in that video. Carrier Command, another recent addition, and that's in absolutely tip-top condition. Really chuffed about that. Golden Axe, I remember getting this for my birthday and wanting to stay at home and not go to school so I could continue to play it throughout the day, but my mum wouldn't let me, bless her. Golden Axe was, I got the demo of Golden Axe on that Christmas morning. Actually, I bought ST format before Christmas morning when I was getting my ST, and I'd had that ST format for ages. So that was the first thing I put in, the Golden Axe demo, when I first got my ST on Christmas. So yeah, that means a lot to me. Damocles. Now, I haven't played this version. I need to crack that open, because whenever I've actually tried to play the cracked version, I always end up in a cul-de-sac and, you know, flying around in space, and the planet gets destroyed and I've no idea what I'm doing. So having an inspection of the manual, and hopefully there's some star charts or something in there so I can sort that out. Cadaver, that's another game I haven't played loads of, but another Bitmap Brothers game. It looks the bee's knees, and it's an isometric adventure, which are actually quite rare on 16-bit machines. Definitely not as prevalent as they were on the Spectrum and Amstrad and things, so I'll definitely be checking that out. That went a little over my head, actually, back in the day when I was about 12, 13, whatever. It was a bit too subtle for me, that one, so I definitely have to come back to that as an adult. BSS Jane Seymour, that's another Dungeon Master style game, but this time set in space. There's a fleet of ships that have all gone down, and there's some kind of virus attacking the ship's computers or something. You've got to work your way through from ship to ship, sorting it out. I mean, I've only played that briefly, but it looks brilliant, so I'm going to explore that further. Lemmings, I don't really need to say a lot about Lemmings, do I? I mean, everybody knows that. Absolutely fantastic game. One of the best games of all time, let alone ST games. And Ikari Warriors, there's obviously a huge inspiration for Dogs of War. Not necessarily one of my favourites, but for some reason it always sticks in my mind as an absolute classic, so I've included that in the core collection. That's kind of the benchmark, really. If it's more important than Ikari Warriors, it goes in the core collection. If it's less, it goes upstairs with the others. And there's a couple down here, a bit of overspill. We've got here, there's Stars Game Creator. I had loads of fun tinkering about with that, getting sprites flying around the screen. Never had the staying power to actually complete a whole game with it, but still, it was really enjoyable doing what I did. And the compiler, which I came across recently, so that's nice to have that, so you can actually compile the source code and it runs a lot faster, so I can have my pointless wibbly sprites zipping around the screen. And there's Kickoff 2, absolutely brilliant football game, just missed out on my top 10 to Sensible Soccer, and that was an agonising decision. Once I decided it was going to be either Sensible or Kickoff 2, I spent ages then trying to decide which of the two, because it is great, and I spent hours and hours and hours playing Kickoff 2 and Kickoff Extra Time with my uncle. And look, the couple of data discs there, which I'm really chuffed with, the Final Whistle and Winning Tactics. So I've just got to get, what's it called, Return to Europe, or something to do with Europe. I'm sure there's another data disc with Europe in the title, so I'm definitely going to try and get hold of that one. I'll see if I can get Dino Dini's Goal as well, and perhaps the earlier versions of Kickoff, because those will complement Kickoff 2 nicely. Now, over here to the side, I've got some games. Is that bright enough? I've got some games here which I've not actually played, so they're here in lieu of me playing them and deciding whether they deserve to be in this collection. I mean, you've seen the quality of games that are in the collection, so it's, it's a high bar to get over, and to be honest, these games don't have any personal significance to me, so they are going to have to be something special. We've got Chambers of Shaolin, tempted to include this anyway because it's made by Thalion. Oh, there, Thalion, which were a group of demo coders making games. So I've always had an affinity with their games anyway, because I used to love watching the demos. Epic, that gets quite a lot of love. It's kind of a 3D space fighter, but I need to play that, see what that's like. Pegasus, I have no idea what that's like. Looks like some kind of horizontal shooter. And everyone knows Space Invaders. Well, this is the update, Super Space Invaders. So yeah, I'll be playing those and deciding whether they should be in the collection. And over here I've got some books as well, some ST books. The Atari ST Explored, the concise Atari ST 68K Programmer's Reference, Introducing Atari ST Machine Code, Atari ST Internals, 68K Family Assembly Language, Atari ST Machine Language, and here is a book that came free with an no, was it free or did people pay? I don't know. I got it in a free alongside an eBay auction that I won for some ST formats anyway. Get the most out of your ST. That's a review of lots of bits of kit, hardware and software and things that that ST format at the time obviously felt that ST owners should have. And here, Secrets of Frontier Elite, packed with hints and tips apparently about the game. And I was obsessed with Frontier Elite at one point in my ST gaming career, so that came in handy, definitely. Now, you'll have to let me know what you think of the collection so far. As I say, it's a core collection of games that meant a lot to me and high quality games. Are there any in there that you think don't deserve to be in there? Are there any blatant omissions which you think I need to add to the collection? Please give me your suggestions. Tell me what you think of Chamber of Shaolin and Epic and Pegasus and Super Space Invaders if you've played those, and whether you think they deserve their place. And yeah, so that's it. That's my collection, guys. So as I say, I'm slowly adding to it day by day. I think I probably need to slow down a bit, actually. I've been buying a bit too many. I think if my wife catches on to what I've been doing, then I'll be in the doghouse. But never mind. Anyway, so yeah, there's my collection. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully the SCART to component cable will work out nicely and we'll get some lovely crystal clear gameplay videos coming up soon. Alright, cheers. Take care.